Hello, welcome to my group's presentation on the labor market. Today we're going to talk about retail purchasing manager. So first we need to talk about what is a retail purchasing manager. Basically, this is a person who handles buying everything a company needs, whether that's materials, supplies, equipment, or services. You can find this job in almost any industry, manufacturing, retail, healthcare, you name it. The main goal is pretty simple. Make sure the company gets good quality stuff at a good price and on time so everything runs smoothly. They talk to a ton of people every day. Inside the company, they work with buyers, finance, operations, and inventory teams. Basically, anyone involved in getting things done. Outside the company, they're constantly talking to suppliers, contractors, and manufacturers. Communication is a huge part of the job since they're always coordinating, fixing issues, and making sure orders come in when they're supposed to. A purchasing manager does a lot behind the scenes. They set the rules for how the company should buy things, pick out vendors, compare prices, and negotiate deals. They also check bids, manage contracts, and keep an eye on market trends so they can save the company money. They're in charge of purchase orders, budgets, and all the records that go with it. And they usually have a team of buyers or purchasing staff that they supervise to keep everything organized. Most purchasing managers report to someone higher up, like the director of procurement, the supply chain manager, or sometimes even the VP or COO. They also oversee a team of buyers or purchasing agents. To wrap it up, a purchasing manager is the person who makes sure the company gets the right products for the right price at the right time. They negotiate deals, build relationships with vendors, and help keep the business running smoothly. Now we're going to start talking about the labor market and first the demand side. So this concept of labor demand is known to economists as derived demand. Fundamentally, a firm hires only someone when that individual helps in furthering a product or service that the company can sell. For retail purchasing managers, this is particularly true because products they select directly determine what ends up on shelves and how well those products perform. The management science article that we used describes how retail buyers hold a great significance since they are in control of evaluating what customers want and anticipate the amount of inventory a store needs. If the buyer gets this wrong, like ordering too much or too little, can cause stockouts or excess inventory, and both of those hurt firms' profits. That's why firms demand purchasing managers to make those decisions. That protects their revenue. Our second source explains that due to global disruptions, delays in transport, and instability among the network of suppliers, the supply chains are more complex today than ever. Because of that, retailers need skilled purchasing managers who can negotiate well, maintain solid supplier relationships, and keep inventory stable even when the supply chain gets messy. They add value by doing things that directly affect the company's success, like product storage avoidance. They minimize extra or wasted inventory. Their cost management and supplier risk management, and ensuring that the right products arrive at the right time. These responsibilities help explain why this job remains important. According to the management science article, AI and automation have already taken over much of the repetitive parts of buying, such as basic forecasting and simple replenishment tasks. Modern purchasing systems now embed AI tools that support the analysis of supplier performance and predict risks, even recommending what to order. So yes, technology is changing jobs, but the key point is AI can't replace the strategic parts of retail purchasing. It can't replace judgment, relationship building, or the ability to interpret trends when the data doesn't give a clear answer. So, what does this mean? This means that the job isn't disappearing instead. Instead, demand is shifting towards workers who can use advanced tools and apply human judgment. In other words, companies still need purchasing managers who have stronger skills and the ability to work alongside technological advancements. The retail purchasing career ladder is rather well structured considering how the positions progress from entry level to strategic leadership. Buying assistant and procurement assistant, this is where most people start. Buying assistants handle the administrative tasks of entering purchase orders, tracking shipments, and maintaining product information. It's a job of building foundations where you learn the basics. 2, which is your mid-level, is assistant buyer / junior buyer. Once you have built those basics, you move into an assistant buyer role. In this role, you start helping evaluate suppliers and support negotiations, working on small purchasing decisions. You are still just supporting. But then you move to 3, which is leadership, where you become a purchaser or a buying specialist. This is the level where you're officially responsible for your own product category. You select products, negotiate prices and terms, analyze sales and performance, and make independent buying decisions. You really shape what ends up in the store. And then you get to the executive portion, which is senior buyer, purchasing manager. As you get experience, you become a senior buyer or purchasing manager with the company, managing several categories, negotiating bigger contracts, and overseeing supplier relationships. Many people are able to move into this role after a few years of experience and solid performance. Then you become a category manager or a senior purchasing manager. At this stage, you are responsible for the entire product group and long-term category strategy. You work heavily with analytics, profitability, and planning. And then Director of Merchandising, Director of Procurement. This is the leadership role where you lead teams of buyers and define the purchasing strategy for the company. And then finally, you become Vice President of Merchandising or Chief Procurement Officer. This is the top level. These executives oversee the entire procurement and merchandising function and make decisions that impact the whole company. The career ladder goes from basic administration to high-level strategy. Each step requires more robust analytical skills, better negotiation ability, and responsibility. We're going to move on to the supply side of the labor market for retail purchasing managers. This will cover who they are, how they get there, and what makes a candidate stand out. We're going to answer the question, who's qualified, are there job education and certifications, and what is the minimum and optimal skill set. At minimum, hiring teams look for vendor communication, Excel proficiency, basic procurement knowledge, and an understanding of retail pricing and margins. Beyond the basics, strong candidates just demonstrate analytical negotiation skills that directly improve cost accountability and margin outcomes. Most candidates enter the pipeline with degrees in supply chain management, business, or retail management. Those credentials provide the foundation employers expect and make candidates immediately credible for buying and inventory roles. Experience is the next gatekeeper. Common stepping stones include buyer assistant, merchandise analyst, purchasing coordinator, and inventory planner. These roles build practical expertise in assortment planning, demand forecasting, and vendor relationships. The day-to-day work that prepares someone for a purchasing manager role. Professional credentials can accelerate advancement. Certifications such as the CPSM, Certified Professional in Supply Management, becoming a Certified Purchasing Professional, and a Supply Chain Management Professional, signal deeper technical knowledge, and readiness for senior responsibility. Now we're going to talk about the funnel, basically how retail employs large numbers of people, but the supply of senior buying roles is relatively limited. That creates a funnel effect. Many entry-level candidates feed the pipeline while mid and senior level positions remain selective and competitive. When those senior openings appear, employers prioritize proven track records and specialized skills. In short, the supply of retail purchasing managers is broad at the entry level and narrow at the top. Education and early career roles build the foundation, while hands-on experience, analytical ability, negotiation strength, and targeted certifications determine who rises into the most competitive buying positions. Now we're going to go over how would a college student get the job and what kind of career path they're looking at. Start by building a strong foundation with a relevant degree in supply chain, business, retail management, so you understand merchandising, procurement, inventory management, and basic finance. Along with that, you need to get hands-on retail experience as something like a stalker or intern to learn product assortments, store operations, and customer behavior, so your purchasing decisions are grounded in real-world context. At the same time, invest time into technical skills, become fluent in Excel, including pivot tables and advanced formulas, and practice with data analysis tools so that you can spot trends and back your buying. Recommendations with numbers. Next, you want to target entry-level roles that act as learning labs: buyer assistant, assistant merchant, purchasing coordinator, or inventory and merchandise analyst. Will expose you to vendor relationships, forecasting, purchasing orders, and margin analysis. Once you're in the field, consider certifications in supply chain or procurement to validate your skills and accelerate promotions. And document on-the-job projects that show measurable results like cost savings, improved sell-through, or better inventory returns. This will give you the qualifications to make you a great candidate for the role as you move up the ladder and apply to be a retail purchasing manager. Next, we're going to discuss the market trends, and we're going to start with the demand trend. First, the overall demand for purchasing managers is growing at a moderate pace. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the field is projected to grow about 3% in the next decade, which is also the average predicted growth for all other occupants. In retail specifically, this growth is driven by firms needing professionals who can manage vendor relationships, maintain inventory levels, and respond to shifting customer preferences. So the demand is steady, but it's becoming more skill-focused. Next are wages. Purchasing managers in retail overall earn a median salary of about $149,000, according to Glassdoor. Retail purchasing managers typically earn less than those working in manufacturing, technology, or specific industries, mainly because retail has lower margins and less specialized procurement needs. However, wage levels still vary widely within retail. Large brands and complex retail operations tend to pay more than smaller stores. Also, important variation within the retail industry itself. Retail buyers in high-end or luxury retail often receive higher salaries because their purchasing decisions directly impact brand positioning and profitability. On the other hand, grocery chains, discount retailers, or stores with lower cost goods usually offer lower wages. So overall, the earning potential depends heavily on the type of retailer and the types of products being sourced. Finally, we're going to look at the future outlook. E-commerce continues to grow, and that's increasing demand for purchasing managers who use data analytics to forecast demand and optimize buying decisions. Retailers are also shifting to omni-channel inventory strategies, which means purchasing managers need strong analytical and supply chain skills more than ever. Because of that, wages in retail purchasing are expected to grow moderately, especially for managers who can work with data, manage vendors strategically, and help streamline inventory systems.